Thank you for joining us on Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. Reaching you live from Abuja, I am Nolin Ebel Ame. The Nigeria Visa Policy 2020 launched by the federal government has been formally presented to the public. President Muhammadu Buhari, who performed the ceremony, said the policy document will not only complement efforts at protecting Nigeria's national identity, but also defend its sovereignty and territorial integrity.
The Nigerian Visa Policy 2020 is intended to attract innovation, socialize skills and knowledge from abroad to complement locally available ones. I am confident that the implementation of the Nigerian Visa Policy 2020 will support the attainment of a globally competitive economy for Nigeria by building on the efforts of the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council. The policy is expected to improve the business environment, attract foreign direct investment, and boost tourism without compromising national security.
I wish to congratulate the Nigerian Immigration Service for this landmark policy and invite all prospective visitors, investors, and residents to a new and refreshing experience to Nigeria. The general public can best be rest assured that the implementation of Nigerian Visa Policy 2020 will not be allowed to compromise national security, as adequate control measures have been provided both before and after entry to Nigeria.
Nigeria is set to receive another $320 million recovered in the United States of America. This is the hallmark of the U.S.-Nigeria Binational Commission meeting in Washington, D.C. Usman Aliu was there.
The Binational Commission meeting holding at this United States Diplomacy Center just behind me is focused primarily on advancing United States and Nigeria shared prosperity in the areas of security cooperation, economic development and good governance. So apart from the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Jeffrey Onyama, who is leading the Nigeria's delegation, there is interagency delegation here. For instance, National Security Advisor Babagana Munguno, the Minister of Justice Abubakar Malami, the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs Sadia Umar Farouk, as well as Minister of State Petroleum Resources Time Presilva are all part of this meeting.
As you know, we both have a shared interest in fighting against terrorism in particular, and the Americans have been engaging with us on that. There's been some equipment such as A-29 Super Tucano planes that we've ordered from them, sharing intelligence and, so looking at things that still need to be done.
It has now translated to an execution of a tripartite agreement between Nigeria, Island of Jersey, and United States of America for the repatriation of over $300 million looted assets back to Nigeria.
Moving away from post-conflict to early recovery, reconstruction, rehabilitation, and reintegration of our displaced populations.
It is important here to understand that the last meeting of this nature was held at the instance of Nigeria's government in Abuja in November 2017. At that time, the United States of America and Nigeria reaffirmed commitment in strengthening relationship in the fight against terrorism, as well as supporting Nigeria in her cause of fighting corruption.
Similarly, civil society organizations monitoring the utilization of recovered looted funds and assets have commended the open policy of the Buhari administration and the effective utilization of the recovered funds and assets for the benefit of the less privileged and other Nigerians. This came up at a press briefing by leader of the CSOs and Executive Director Africa Network for Environment and Economic Justice, Reverend David Ugolo, on the secured third trench of Abuja loot to the tune of $321 million to be repatriated by federal government in the island of Jersey. Ilyasu Aliyakubu reports.
Records have shown that the utilization of recovered looted funds and assets have been misprioritized by previous administrations, thereby discouraging the international communities from giving the Nigerian government further access to more looted funds. These narratives, according to the CSOs, have changed following Buhari administration's open policy and full involvement of the CSOs in the process of recovery and effective utilization for the benefit of Nigerians. David Ogolo said the involvement of more than 700 civil society organizations in monitoring the monthly conditional cash transfer of 5,000 naira to the poorest of the poor Nigerians is a huge success.
That for me is something we must commend this government for. We must commend President Buhari for providing this huge opportunity, because without government support, civil society like us would have not had access to the data.
While commending the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Abubakar Malami for his commitment in ensuring a level playing ground, however, appeal for the creation of a policy framework that will enable state governments have access to funds stolen from their regions recovered by the federal government. £6.8 million stolen by the former governor of Delta State, James Ibori, and $55 million by the former governor of Bayelsa State, late Dimipre Alamesia, are being secured for repatriation by the federal government. Ilyasu Aliyakubu, NTA News.
And moving to health now, Senate has called for the establishment of the National Cancer Research Institute as provided in the bill passed and assented to in 2017. This followed a point of order by the chairman, Senate Committee on Health, Ibrahim Oloribe, whose motion was in commemoration of World Cancer Day. The motion stressed the need for the provision of adequate health facilities for the prevention and treatment of cancer, especially breast, cervix, and prostate cancers, which he said have been on the increase. Senator Betty Apiafi's bill on the establishment of the National Agency for Research and Management of Persons with Special Needs was passed through second reading. The Senate has passed the 2020 budget of the Nigerian Customs Service of 238 billion naira with 1.5 trillion as proposed revenue. Senator Aliu Sabi Abdullahi, on the matter of personal explanation, urged security agencies to intensify surveillance along the forest reserves in Niger State and to ensure quick release of those kidnapped by bandits in the area. Still talking cancer. Even with the increased capacity and improvement in diagnosis of cancers, health institutions records from the cancer registry of the Aminu Kano Teaching Hospital reveals a substantial increase of breast and cervical cancers. Hadiza Mohammed reports that although the number of women that undergo the pap smear screening has drastically increased as a result of the awareness campaign program, there is still worry that many cancer patients mostly present their cases at advanced stages where nothing or very little can be done to manage the ailment.
The World Health Organization identifies cancer as a global health challenge with Nigeria recording 100,000 new cases every year, thereby contributing to 15% of the estimated 681,000 of the disease. Cancer registry at the Mala Aminu Kano Teaching Hospital reveals a steady rise in its prevalence. The statistics shows breast cancer as the most common malignancy among women, while prostate and bladder cancer still remain the commonest among men. 50-year-old Rahama Sani is a cancer survivor that has been managing the disease for 15 years.
This thought because the patient are suffering. Most of the people that are presented in Aminu Kano find out that they are very poor. They cannot eat, talk less of taking the chemotherapy drugs and then the radiotherapy treatment.
Umar Ismail, on the other hand, is not that lucky as he battles a rare case of breast cancer in men. Financial constraint is a major challenge among most cancer patients like Umar, who could not complete his chemo and access other treatment, which has left him bedridden and burdened to his loved ones.
Wannan rashin tashi ne kawai yake addabata. In na tashi sai kamar kirjina gaba ɗaya zai haɗe.
Experts say cancer disease has no specific cause. However, risk factors associated with the disease remains a source of concern to medical practitioners.
It has some associated risk factors. For example, it can run in family. It can run in that genetic predisposition.
Though a National Health Insurance Scheme 2013 guideline brought a ray of hope to cancer sufferers, stakeholders, however, insist that more needs to be done.
Even though they are in the list, they are available, cancer drugs are so dynamic that changes over time. So the ones that we have may be not the ones that are required for a particular treatment of said cancers.
For the likes of Rahama and Umar, their hopes are high as the construction work on the Kano Cancer Center, commissioned about 4 weeks ago, is ongoing. In Kano, Hadiza Muhammad, NTA News.
The need for the full implementation of National Cancer Control Plan has been stressed. Guests on NTA's Current Affairs program, Good Morning Nigeria, stated this while discussing options in cancer prevention. Ekemini Williams has the report.
Available records show that cancer is responsible for 72,000 deaths in Nigeria every year and is said to be the second leading cause of death worldwide. The key drivers of cancer in Nigeria and most African countries are tobacco use, alcohol consumption, sedentary lifestyle, polluted environment, and unhealthy diets. Guests in Good Morning Nigeria say cancer is a genetic disease that requires a multidisciplinary approach in managing it. They identify early detection and treatment as a way out.
Almost all cancers that we have in Nigeria, amongst Nigeria, come very late. I have seen someone who they are good looking, they are healthy, and they will tell you that in 1976 they diagnosed cancer of the colon for them. In 1986 they have cancer of the skin. And you see them, they are all right, and it is because the diagnosis was early, was prompt, and treatment can be instituted early. And this is where I think Nigeria must look into to have policy.
The experts suggest introduction of a policy that will encourage private sector to establish facilities for diagnosis and treatment of cancer in the country.
Let them reduce the bureaucratic bottlenecks so that we can have proper implementation of the document. I'll give you an example. If we are talking that we don't have pathology in Nigeria to be able to make a proper diagnosis, why are we not encouraging private sector to develop pathology laboratories across the country? Every cancer patient that travels out of this country to go to India, Dubai, and all other countries don't go to government hospitals.
Consultant radiation oncologist also advises communities and individuals against discrimination against cancer patients, saying most misconceptions about cancer is as a result of wrong information.
Every time we have the opportunity, like we all do today, to
educate people about cancer, we need to let them know that first, cancer is preventable in 30% of cases, and the way you can prevent it is by being informed. Go for your medical checkup from age 20.
As a preventive measure against the disease, experts call on governments to include human papillomavirus vaccination for children in the National Immunization Program, in addition to ban on public smoking and excessive alcohol consumption. In Abuja, Ekemini Williams, NTA News.
Now joining me in the studio to discuss more on cancer is Dr. Taufik Ige, President, Federation of African Medical Physics Organizations, and also he's the HOD Medical Physics National Hospital, Abuja. Sir, you are welcome to our studio.
Thank you very much, madam.
All right. Now, over the years, 4th of February, awareness is created as regards cancer impact on the society, the negative impact on the society. Now, what do you think, your assessment on the impact now? Let's look at the impact.
Thank you very much for inviting me to this program. The impact of cancer, you can either look at it positively or negatively, but it has always been negative, as you have mentioned, and it has been. And just some few years back in this country, we have a situation where there is none or just one or two of the machines, that are working. And you can jolly well imagine what the patients, have gone through. At least, thankfully, in the last 2 years, the government has since taken a quantum leap, to the extent that at least we have some 7 working machines in the country today now, as we speak, This is a very big welcome, and at least to some extent, even in the Committee of Nations, among our colleagues, we can actually raise a little bit of our head, So to that extent, the impact has been negative, quite all right, but at least the government has been up to the task, and there are more deployment of facilities in the pipeline starting from 2020.
All right, now moving forward, what do you think we should do in order to reduce the scourge?
Well, just like colleagues must have mentioned, there are preventive measures, but on our own part, because there are different professionals, that are involved in this cancer care continuum. For us as medical physics, our own realm is in the machine, just as you rightly know. In cancer treatment, we have the surgery, we have the drugs used, the chemotherapy, and then the radiotherapy. At least we have, in the literature, probably about 60% of cancer patients will at one point in their care go through radiotherapy, And so that is of interest, to our own professional group. And just like I've mentioned, we are really glad, that government has come forth, by deployment of these new machines. Now, at least we have 2 machines right now in National Hospital. It has not been good.
Are they enough?
They are not, but at least it's still a quantum leap from a situation where 2-3 years back, we don't even have working machine, or barely 1 or 2 in the country.
At least we are making progress.
Exactly. Right now, as we speak, 2 more machines, 2 in Luth, and the 3rd one is currently being installed, And I think probably just like you have seen in one of the clips here now, one of the state governments, Kano state government, is hoping by July they are going to deploy 2 new machines, again, If we are able to at least increase this number, at least it will go a very long way in lessening, the patient suffering. Because believe me, if you have been together with these patients, they are really suffering in the country.
All right, beyond that, let's look at the figures. We have variations in the figure of those affected with cancer and the death toll. So what do you have to say concerning this, the variation in the statistics?
Well, the statistics, well, it's neither here nor there, but the most important thing for us, as cancer care providers, at least those who are able to come forth, that we are able to improve their quality of life, before, the Almighty say it is ready for them, to come,
Okay, the staggering figure now.
Well,
what do you have to say about that?
Well, it has always been there. The truth is that probably with the awareness catching up, people are coming forth, because, in the years gone by, we hear of probably dying after brief illness. Whatever this brief illness is, nobody really tries as much as possible to investigate, okay? But right now, with the awareness, people are coming forth, so that's why it's actually looking as if it is really staggering. As far as I'm concerned, this thing had always been there all this while, but with the accentuation of awareness, people are coming forth, and probably we are coming in a little bit early now.
Okay, and that
really
reduces
exactly,
the problem.
The mortality, that's right,
Okay, now as a physicist, what do you have to say to Nigerians at a time like this?
Well, as a medical physicist, I want to appeal, probably to first, to the government, that they should not rest on their oars, to really try as much as possible again, to go forth, in these all developmental programs, that have been slated, especially starting from this year, again, quite a number of machines at least have been deployed in some of the centers that are supposed to take up, and this will really, really, really go a long way in helping this patient, because we have a situation where patients are treated in some particular centers and they have to go and complete their treatment in another center. It's really very inconveniencing, 300, 400 kilometers away. Even when one is okay, it's a big issue. Not to talk of, this added disease burden on these poor and helpless patients.
Thank you so much, Dr. Taofeek Ige, for coming to Nationwide and also for enlightening us on cancer. Thank you.
Thank you very much, madam.
All right.
Yeah, really appreciate it.
Thank you. I've been speaking with Dr. Taofeek Ige. He's the President, Federation of African Medical Physics Organization, and also HOD Medical Physics National Hospital, Abuja. This is Nationwide on NTA. Let's link up with Hingino in Lagos for more reports on Nationwide. Hello, Hingino.
Thanks for joining us in Lagos. The Nigeria Customs Service has intercepted 20 sealed wraps of approximately $8 million found in tarmac section of a bus at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport. At a briefing in Lagos, the Controller General of the service, Colonel Hamid Ali, retired, said the money will be handed over to Economic and Financial Crimes Commission after preliminary investigations. Imole Ayetokede reports.
The total amount intercepted stood at $8,065,612.
These items, all in $100 denomination, wrapped in $10,000 bundle each, were intercepted at about 12 noon on the 16th of January 2020. The consignment was loaded in 6 big bako bags packed in a narco vehicle, which was said to be driven by a suspect, Chimezie Okonkwo, who was arrested and taken into custody. The Comptroller General of Customs, Colonel Hamid Ali, urged travelers in and out of the country to voluntarily declare any physical cash above the threshold of $10,000 or its equivalent in other currency with the Customs Service.
The question often asked, why do customs or any agency of government need to know if a private person or company is taking out monies for their personal business out of the country? It is for the simple reason that illegal criminal activities like international terrorism, drug smuggling, arms proliferation are financed by illicit cash movements outside the recognized financial system.
Also, 147 sacks weighing 9,504 kilograms of pangolin scales worth approximately 10 billion naira were discovered in an abandoned warehouse at Isheri Estate along Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Other items including 3,067 bags of smuggled foreign rice, 4,762 kegs of foreign vegetable oil, 14 exotic vehicles were intercepted. In Lagos, Imole Ayotokide, NTA News.
Business activities have picked up at Ijora and some areas where there were some pockets of violence as a result of protests by youths following the ban on motorcycles and tricycles in some parts of the city. Abolade Salami is standing by to update us on how security operatives are keeping surveillance to avoid a recurrence. Hello, Abolade.
Yes, thank you, Studio. I'm at Shito Roundabout, where yesterday there was a fracas between the Nigerian policemen and some youths in this area, owing to the ban of Keke Mariwa and Okada. If you can see behind me, this was the reaction of the youth yesterday, that they were not happy with the ban of motorcycles. But also, as you can see, life has picked up, businesses are opened. I have here with me Mr. Kingsley.
There was a lot of even fight here, but thank God, after everything, police now came, so they now stopped. So what I'm saying is that government should consider tricycle. They can even leave Okadas, but tricycle, Marwa, they should consider them because of the students.
I wanted to go to Ojuelegba. From Ojuelegba now get to Oshodi, but there is no means of transportation. Even the few buses that come up now, the price is very, very high.
That has been the concern of everyone here in Surulere. All provide an alternative so as for them to be able to meet up with their journey. And the plea government is giving to Lagosians and road unionists is that they should try to consider and make things work out for the new buses that were released in Lagos. Abolade Salami, NTA News.
Thank you, Abolade. That's our contribution from Lagos. More reports from Abuja after this break.
This year, the weather conditions Harmattan in Nigeria is harsh, with temperature dropping very low in some parts of the country. Many underprivileged children are exposed to these harsh weather conditions, putting them at risk to all sorts of respiratory infections with devastating consequences. We request well-meaning Nigerians to kindly donate warm clothing, blankets, beverages, soap, moisturizers, and other essential items for the benefit of these children. Get involved to support displaced and underprivileged children exposed to these harsh weather conditions. Powered by Aisha Buhari Foundation.
The Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS, strategy in generating more revenue for national development is the focus this week on NTA Tuesday Live. The chairman, FIRS, Mohamed Nami, will lead panelists to explain the tax regime. The program at 10:30 p.m. will be incisive and educative. Join us.
Sunday morning, 11th of March, was a regular day. I wake up, go to work, then I got to the toll, and the XUV was coming back from the club, and it hit the passenger's bus, which I was inside, the commercial bus.
When I got there, I saw his state. It wasn't hopeful.
I just wish he's fine. I wish he gets back to what he used to be.
Are you a business owner struggling to find your way? Smithen is the answer. The Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency of Nigeria is here to help you succeed and gives you entrepreneurship training that will make your business grow big. It can create access to finance. Smithen can help you prepare a good feasibility study and link you up with the finance institutions that will fund your business. It can also create access to market through local and international trade fairs, opportunity fairs, and exhibitions. Smithen also organizes programs to identify innovative entrepreneurs and promote their business ideas.
further information, contact us at Plot 35, Port Harcourt Crescent, Area 11, Garaki, Abuja, or visit our website www.smedan.gov.ng or any of our state offices in the 36 states of the Federation.
Thank you for rejoining us on Nationwide. Authorities in Kenya have announced the death of the country's former president Daniel Arap Moi, who ruled Kenya from 1978 to 2002. President Uhuru Kenyatta announced the passing away of the former president in the early hours of this Tuesday in Nairobi. Arap Moi died in Hospital, Nairobi, at the age of 95. President Uhuru Kenyatta has declared a period of national mourning and said Mr. Moi would receive a state funeral. Late Daniel Arap Moi became president 15 years after Kenya won independence from Britain in 1963. Mr. Moi, a former school teacher and national legislator, became president on the death of Jomo Kenyatta, the country's founding father. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has described the late former president of Kenya, Daniel Arap Moi, as a frontline nationalist who gave his best for the development of his country and a key factor in the stability of the East African region and Africa in general. In a message of condolence to President Uhuru Kenyatta, the government and people of Kenya, President Buhari said from a humble beginning as a school teacher, the late Arap Moi became a politician, a committed Democrat, was elected president, upheld the values of democracy and worked for its sustenance throughout his lifetime. The president recalls that as the longest-serving president of the country, that voluntarily handed over to his successor in 2002 in an election, having ruled the country since 1978, a feat that was uncommon at that time. President Buhari urges Kenyans to uphold the ideals of love, peace, progress, unity and loyalty that the late statesman stood for, even as he calls on other African leaders to emulate these virtues. He prays that God Almighty repose his soul and comfort family and friends as they mourn the departed statesman. Time to join Zenret in Jos for reports from that axis. Nice to see you, Zenret.
To see you too, Nolin. Welcome to Jos. Of the Nigerian Governors Forum and the Northern Governors Forum visited Plateau State Governor to express their commitment to peace and urge Plateau State citizens to pursue and protect peace at all costs. Ekemaran Kaneng Ladoja has details.
The delegation had Bauchi State Governor Bala Mohammed, Jigawa State Governor Abubakar Mohammed, and leader of the delegation, Kebbi State Governor Atiku Bagudu. They came with words of comfort and encouragement as Governor Bagudu described the attacks on the Bokas and Mongo communities as one too many and the slaying of Mr. Robville Daleb as sad.
You have a governor who is peace-loving. You have a governor who is very, very sincere and determined. So we pray that you continue to acknowledge the gift that God has given you in Plateau and support him to continue with the great work he has been doing to restore peace and to ensure continued peace in Plateau.
A commitment to continue to pursue sustainable peace was the stand of Governor Simon Bakula Long, as he explained that all the incidences in the states affect Nigeria.
As much as possible, we must try to guard the peace in Plateau State because it is a miniature Nigeria. When you have peace everywhere. But if you have crisis here, it means that soldiers will be sent all over the states.
Prayers were said for the souls of the deceased and for peace in Plateau State and Nigeria. In Jos, Ekemaran Kaneng Ladoja, NTA News.
Meanwhile, in what could be described as the presentation of its petition before God and intercession for peace, Christians in Plateau State converged on the Government House Chapel in Jos for the 5th Plateau Prayer Day. The annual event, which was instituted by the administration of Governor Simon Lalong in conjunction with the Christian Association of Nigeria in the state, is meant to celebrate the day of the creation of Plateau State and for peace in the state. Again, a Cameron Canning Ladoja has details.
The prayer drew top government officials, traditional rulers, religious leaders, as well as Christians from in and around Jos, as they praised God for his faithfulness and grace in the past year and prayed for a better and peaceful year 2020. From the peaceful conduct of the 2019 general election, his affirmation by the Supreme Court judgment to the many things God has done, Governor Lalong said, he is a testimony of God's grace and will continue to seek his face as he rules Plateau State. On the state of security, Lalong says he believes community policing backed by law is the way to go, and having community leaders as well as youths as part of intelligence gathering is key.
We are determined to do our best in providing purposeful leadership that inspires confidence, support, peaceful coexistence.
Christians must always reflect on the past with the intention of learning from it, and appreciating God was the crux of the message by guest preacher, Right Reverend Thomas Serve.
Grace, in a simple word, is God's divine favor and mercy bestowed on humans. As a church, to partner with the government, to partner with the traditional rulers, to stand on the word of God and speak truth.
Let us remember that none of us can deceive God. We can only deceive ourselves.
Prayers were said for the unity of the church, Plateau State, Nigeria, Plateau State Governor and his cabinet. In Jos, Cameron Canning Ladoja, NTA News.
That's it from Jos. It's back to Nolin in Abuja for more news on Nationwide.
Very well, Zenret. Now, 24th of this month is the predicted date by NIMET for the onset of rains in the south. So the Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency is raising some concerns on early preparations by individuals and states.
Sights of destruction and voices of pain give flood deep sense of fulfillment, and this is on annual basis. For 2020, the Nigerian Meteorological Agency NIMET has gone ahead of the ordinary man in predicting the future in the aviation and hydrological fields. Rains are expected to start around February 24th in the south, while that of the north is around June. Cessation is expected around September and December respectively. So, just a few weeks left for preparations to avoid urban flooding in the year 2020. And the Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency NISA is sending advance warning.
Various governments, various levels of government in Nigeria should begin to prepare for possible flooding for 2020. Open up the drainages or create drainage paths where there are none. Remove structures that are within the flood plains. And let there be adequate sensitization program now that the rains are not setting.
That is for urban flooding. So, what is the way forward for river flooding in Nigeria?
We expect that the more dams we have in Nigeria, the more it will be easy to control flooding.
The longer rainfall period predicted by NIMET for the year 2020 is not cast in stone for now that the flood period will be disastrous. Because probably towards the end of March this year, the Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency will going to give its own seasonal flood outlook. And some situation report about the flood for the year 2020 will be made public at that event. Mie Ogidi, NTA News.
Thank you, Mia. You are still watching Nationwide on NTA. Let's join Chinenge in Enugu for more reports. Hello, Chinenge.
Hello, Nolin. Good evening and welcome to Enugu. Federal government has been urged to the agency on erosion menace in Anambra State. Governor Willie Obiano stated this when he inspected ongoing erosion control work at 100-foot deep erosion site in Uragun, Nnewi North Council area. Ndamkalu reports.
The life-threatening erosion site is one of the 972 sites in the state, having been a thorn in the flesh to people living around the area for years. However, it is worthy of note that Anambra State government has come to their rescue, having put in over 3 billion naira to contain the menace. The state government having also put in over 7 billion naira to contain erosion site at Obiofia Nnewi is therefore appealing to the federal government to assist in tackling the menace.
So this contract was awarded to IDC and we have mobilized them to commence work. I've seen how bad this site is, and if we don't do anything this period, when the rain comes, most of the buildings here will cave in.
Pace of work on the site has recorded tremendous progress in view of the rainy season, as the buildings around are already under serious threat. From Uruagu Nnewi, Ndemkalo, NTN News.
And the recent unbundling of mass communication into 7 departments by the National Universities Commission has elicited some reactions from Nigerian professionals and students. Kelechi Ocha sought the views of a cross-section of professionals and students in Enugu on the issue.
Curriculum by the National Universities Commission resulted in the emergence of 7-degree awarding programs, thereby phasing out the single Bachelor of Science and Bachelor of Arts programs in mass communication throughout tertiary institutions in the country. The 7 new programs, or rather departments to be domiciled in a faculty or college of media studies, are advertising, broadcasting, journalism and media studies, public relations, film and multimedia studies, development communication studies, and information and media studies. Some practitioners in the world of communication in Enugu describe the development as a positive move.
I believe that the NUC has done something in the right direction. They want people to specialize. So if you are coming into any broadcast organization, they will tell, are you in broadcasting? Are you print? Are you advertising? Are you public relations? That is the way the employment world is going.
While some students of mass communication are eager to embrace the trend,
I think it's a very nice development because it will give the students the opportunity to focus on their specific areas.
But if we focus on one thing at a time, we are going to achieve a lot.
It is expected that students aspiring for 2020-2021 academic year in communication will focus on a particular field of study. In Enugu, Kelechi Ochiara, NTN News.
And that is it from Enugu. Nolin, it's back to you in Abuja for more on Nationwide. Good evening.
Thank you so much, Chinenge. Okay, we're going to take commercial break and return shortly. Please stay with us.
Sports coverage and reporting require special skills which can only be acquired through training and experience. NTA TV College JOS invites sports reporters, administrators, commentators in the private and public sector to a special 2-week capacity building course on sports coverage and reporting skills in broadcasting. The course will equip participants with contemporary reporting skills for local and international sports and also expose participants to modern trends in sports commentaries, scripting, shooting, directing, and much more. Take advantage of the course to develop your skills and capacities in sports coverage and reporting. Date 17th to 28th February 2020. Course fee 80,000 naira only, accommodation inclusive. Running concurrently is a special 4-week intensive course on record management and registry functions. Participants will be tutored on modern techniques of record keeping and registry management. Date 17th February to 13th March 2020. Course fee 100,000 naira only. Accommodation inclusive. Venue of both courses is the serene and secure environment of NTA TV College near Old Government House, Rayfield, Jos, Plateau State. For more inquiries, please call 0803-314-4383 or 0806-980-9807. NTA TV College Jos, training you to be the best you want to be.
Coming soon in March 2020 in the capital city Abuja, the Ivory 8 Ball, a life-saving fundraising event featuring music and arts in aid of skin cancer patients with albinism. For participation and sponsorship, please call Edidio, Chinwe. This event is supported by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA TV Enterprises, Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, FRCN, and the Albino Foundation. The Ivory 8 Ball for a worthy cause. Watch out.
Thank you for staying with us on Nationwide and talking sports. The 2020 Powerlifting World Cup is set to begin in Nigeria's capital city, Abuja, later today, with the championship serving as qualifiers for the 2020 Paralympics. Sports correspondent Bade Adele is standing by at the International Conference Center, Abuja, venue of the event, to give us more details. Hello, Bade. Okay, Bade, if you can hear me, what's the level of preparations for the taking off of the powerlifting?
All right, thank you so much, Noeline. In about a minute, in less than 30 minutes, there will be opening ceremony for the 2020 World Powerlifting World Cup holding here at the International Conference Center, Abuja. And of course, it's a big event because it's going to serve as one of the qualifiers for the Tokyo 2020 Paralympics, because we're going to have 5 legs of the qualifiers, and this is one of it. And it's really huge because Nigeria is the only African country, hosting this type of event, and about 28 countries will be participating, and we're having and so many things will be happening here. 30 athletes will be representing Nigeria, 20 in the senior category and 10 in the junior category. In the senior category, we have 10 women and 10 men, while in the junior category, we've got 5 boys and 5 girls. Now, let's look at these. There are so many things about this because Nigeria, we know that powerlifting is, we are the powerhouse when it comes to Africa and the world. But in the past few months, we've seen a country like China overtake Nigeria because it happened at the last qualifiers in Kazakhstan. But this time around, the Nigerian team, they have tagged themselves the Unstoppables. They say they are very much ready, to overtake China. And don't you forget the other teams in Africa like Egypt and Nigeria, who say they are going to give, other countries a run for their money. But it might be, Noeline, you might find this very interesting that out of the 10 athletes that have been listed, as ones to watch, Nigeria, we have 2 of them. No other country, does. Other countries have 1, but we have 2. And the person of Lucy Ejike, who is going to be competing in the 61 kg class, and Paul. And the other person will be Paul Kende in the 65 kg of, for the men's category. And these 2 people, these 2 athletes, they won gold at the 2016 Paralympics, so we expect them to do well. The other athletes to look out for, to watch out for, like Olaiton Ibrahim. We've got another person, in person of Bosse Omolayo, a hairdresser, that became a power lifter. So many interesting things to look out for. And of course, it's big for Nigeria because a country like Nigeria is hosting this.
All right, Bade, at the moment now, how many countries do we have on ground for the takeoff?
Okay, as at the last time, they were doing the registration, over 20, although we're expecting 28. So before the event proper will start by Wednesday morning, we expect all the 28 countries to, to have fully registered, and the competition is going to start.
All right, it appears this is going to be interesting, Bade. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you to Noelin. And if you have time, you can come to the International Conference Center.
Of course I will do, but I will be there. Thank you. All right, moving on. Agatha is in our studio in Benin and she has the next set of reports. Hello, Agatha.
Hello, Nolin. Thank you for joining us in Benin. Providing access to finance by mitigating the credit risks of agribusiness to attract direct investment is being tapped by Delta State through the program of the United States Agency for International Development, USAID. A forum, Feed the Future Nigeria Agribusiness Investment Activity, is exploring ways to improve the enabling environment for the agri sector in the state. Oniye Joshua reports.
The chief of party, Adam Safa, said as facilitators, they work with a group of farmers, finance institutions, states, and federal government to boost agribusiness prospects in Nigeria.
Intent of this particular activity, which is one of several activities the U.S. government is funding under Feed the Future, is to improve the enabling environment to stimulate a more competitive, dynamic, versatile, and profitable agribusiness sector in Nigeria.
Representative of Governor Ifeanyi Okowa and Commissioner for Agriculture, Julius Egbedi, said the Feed the Future program is focused on providing enabling environments for farmers, enhancing agriculturally based micro, medium, and small-scale enterprises. Brooks Michael represented the Minister of Agriculture.
Through the assistance of this USAID program, whereby farmers come together and the basic aspect of the value chain production in crops like maize, rice, soybeans, and aquaculture, fish production are being taught.
An exhibition was put in place to showcase agricultural products. In Asaba, Onyinye Joshua Ifeanyi, NTA News.
4 soldiers of the 4 Brigade Nigeria Army in Benin have been honored for their gallantry. It was at the West Africa Social Activity WASA of the brigade at the Kenwan Military Cantonment, Benin. It was a time of stock taking for the 4 Brigade. The Commandant, Brigadier General Usman Bello, believes that the officers did well in 2019 and appreciated those who contributed to the success story.
We sincerely hope to enjoy more of your support for this year and the years ahead.
Special guest at the ceremony was Governor Gordon Obaseki, who was represented by his deputy. He is also impressed.
Their gallant, patriotic, and dedicated commitment during their exercise Crocodile Smile 4 was highly instrumental to the huge success recorded.
WASA is a long-established social observance intended to take officers and soldiers away from their routine regimental life to a relaxed atmosphere where they can unwind. That's it from here. Nolin, it's back to you.
Thank you so much, Agatha. And that concludes Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. Thank you for watching. I am Nolin Ebel Ame.